Hey Coconut, so yes, it's episode 100 and I am back! I know I've been taking a break off, and if you want me to be absolutely honest, I would hope to take a longer break. There's just so many things going on. I know you're going through a lot of stuff. We're all going through a lot of stuff. But today, just for today, I'm gonna take some time to warm up again to this whole podcasting thing, getting to know the mic again, getting to know the whole setup once again. And I'm gonna take a lighter topic to just kind of be back with all of you. I'm gonna share with you three crazy things that I did. I consider them kind of crazy by societal standards, but to me, actually not that crazy lah. But I've tried some stuff during this break, and I thought I've learned pretty good lessons, and I want to share them with you to get started on this journey with me again. And so, welcome back. So, good morning, everyone. I welcome you to another day with the Financial Coconut. In our podcast, we're debunking financial myths, discovering best financial practices, and discussing financial strategies that fits our unique life. You get it. Ultimately, empowering us to create a life we love while managing our finances well. And today, we're going to spend some time to talk about three crazy things that I did during my break and what have I learned. Hey, I'm pretty proud of myself. I still remember this whole intro thing. I never look at script, okay? Pats on the back, yo, guys. Okay, I know recently a lot of crazy stuff going on. I know if you need a break, please go and take a break. Don't be too hard on yourself. Life is a marathon, not a sprint. Sometimes we do sprint a little bit, but you don't want to burn out and go crazy. And for all of you that are tuning in today, go and tell all your other friends that are also listeners of the podcast that Reggie is back. Right? Bring everyone back. Come on, let's chime in and learn new things every week once again. Of course, by now you know that Thursdays I've already hand over the reins to Andrew, which is a very seasoned host. I think he's doing a great job talking to all these interesting people. Sometimes I will also disturb Thursday's chills. Sometimes sponsor want me, I bo bian. But yes, so Andrew has taken over Thursday. I will still be with you on Tuesdays monologues, right? So this is Reggie. I know in the past I don't really say my name because I was the only host around, but now okay, we have multiple hosts. We're expanding the crew, so I gotta make it known that hey, my name is Reggie, and I have been your financial coconut for a while. And for everyone that's been supporting the podcast so far, welcome home. Yes, aku sayang kau, aku cinta kamu, and yes, nan inain karadi kira na. So yes, if you don't know what's that is Tamil. I love you in Tamil. I think it is accurate. Okay, you can go and ask all your Indian friends that speak Tamil to verify that. Okay, I've tried it on the prata store uncle. It works because he freaked out. But yes. Okay, enough jokes today. Clearly, I'm warming up, and I want to share with you guys some of the things that I've tried during this break. And I thought it was pretty fun because during the break, I didn't need to churn and create content as tightly as I used to have to do. So I had more time to try some of these like hashtag woke things or like internet sensation and all these new culture things that I thought was like, hey, maybe those things will work for me. And I decided to try them. So after listening to 3+ minutes of me talk out, right, I'm going to go in the first point. Okay, so the first thing that I did was I actually practiced wardrobe minimalism. Okay, for some of my friends who were like, I thought your wardrobe already very minimal. So yes, if you watch our lives, my wardrobe is very minimal. It's always white t-shirt. But I decided to take it more minimal. Okay, so I'm going to do black t-shirts. I don't know who's going to listen to today's episode. But if you're still listening, right, okay, let me guarantee you that there is wisdom here, okay? Although it sounds very stupid and very crazy, but there is wisdom. I'm going to distill it for you, okay? So what I did during the break was I went to Decathlon and I bought like 6 black t-shirts. And I threw away a lot of the other colored t-shirts and other printed t-shirts. Because while I don't have a very fancy wardrobe, it still bothers me what to wear. Today wear what color? All right, so I'm already very, very lean already. If you know me in real life, it's always t-shirt and short slippers. Pretty much that's what it is. But I feel like it still bothers me. I still get pretty anxious deciding what to wear and all that stuff. And then I saw Mark Zuckerberg. I saw the post of how he only wears grey t-shirts. I'm like, oh yeah, boy, I'm gonna try. So I went to buy black t-shirts, a few things, right? Because white t-shirts stain too easily. But yes, what happened was I went to buy the black t-shirts and I wore them. Just black t-shirts every day. I don't need to think. And then life was somehow a little bit more at ease. So my goal is not to tell all of you to wear black t-shirts. We're not going to form like the black t-shirt army, okay? My goal for telling you this is that I think that there are actually too many things that we have to make choices every day. And interestingly, some of these choices, we are not even interested. We're not even that interested. Like for me, wardrobe minimalism, I'm not very interested in what I wear and how people look at me in terms of what I wear. It gives me more anxiousness. So, hey, why not I automate this thing? I just kind of make it minimal. I don't have choices here. Every day I just wear the same thing. And I feel like, wait, not bad, huh? Very chill. And you can actually take this same idea into different aspects of your personal finance. Like every month you have a fixed salary that comes in, right? So every month, are you gonna decide like how many percent goes here, how many percent goes there? No, it shouldn't be a variable thing. It's gonna like be pretty crazy, right? Every month you gotta decide the variables. Why not just keep it simple and automated, right? Every month 10% goes here, 20% goes here, 30% goes here. And in the past, I was generally pretty iffy about these kind of like 50-30-20 rule or 80-10-10 rule or 80-20 60-40 whatever percentages out there, because I feel like it's very blind, because I feel like you need to be goal focused, you need to be targeted, and you want to build towards what you want to build. But after I thought about it, okay, I still believe that you should be goal focused in your personal finance. It shouldn't be a blind pursuit. But after you've set your goals, your strategy needs to be as simple as possible such that you can keep repeating and it does not take up a lot of your bandwidth to keep making new decisions. Which is why the power of DCA, dollar cost averaging, or every month putting a certain percentage into something is very powerful, because you don't really need to think about it. It becomes automated. You don't get so stressed, you don't get so anxious. So I'm like, hey, actually, pretty good that way. Same thing with fitness goals. Every day do 20 push-ups, 10 pull-ups, and 30 burpees or whatever you. Same thing with diet goals. Every day you eat the same thing. Why do you need to have variety every day? There's no real need for variety. If you think about it, you just need to achieve your goals, right? So your goal is to achieve whatever goal you want to achieve, and your system should be repeatable. So while I was practicing this whole wardrobe minimalism thing, I felt that peace and ease, and I was just repeating and repeating and repeating, and I can open up that additional bandwidth to focus on things that I want to focus on things that matters to me, right? Meeting up with my friends, reading interesting stuff, listening to interesting podcasts, and I don't need to be bothering about things that don't matter, right? Which to me just happens to be wardrobe. And of course, there are many other extensions to this whole discussion, but this is one of the things that I did during this break that has helped me reinforce some of these thoughts in my head, some of these practices in me. So I want to give you that affirmation and empower you to understand that, hey, you don't need to be interested in every single thing that society tells you that you should be interested. Because I do believe that in today's world, there are a lot of little choices that we gotta make every single day. So it gets pretty overwhelming. I don't know if you guys feel that, but I do get pretty overwhelmed with all these little things that don't matter. And one of the underlying caveat of this whole discussion is that humans have limited bandwidth. So because you have limited bandwidth, unlock it for things that matter. For things that don't, simplify it, repeat it, just keep it minimal and keep it essential, whatever you want to call it. Essentially, make choices that matters to you. Everything else that don't, what's wrong with repeating it? So that is what I've embraced, and that's what I've learned. And wardrobe is just the first thing that I'm starting with. So yeah, that's great. The other thing that I tried that I think people will be a little bit concerned for me, and they think I'm a little bit xiao, right? So as if like every day wear a black t-shirt is not enough. I actually went to the extent, okay, so point number two, I went to the extent of not using soap and shampoo anymore. Ha! Ha! Don't worry, I don't stink. I don't stink. I've met some people during this break, okay? I'm gonna share with you more, share with you a little bit more after a word from our sponsor. Okay, okay, hello, coconuts. Please don't unsubscribe, don't unfollow, don't give me 1 star rating just because I don't use soap and shampoo. Let me just give you the backstory. So, I started feeling like my skin was very dry and very itchy. Okay, it's been a while, and so I tried the most expensive body soap and shampoo. And okay, please don't come to me and say, hey, I got this better one. No, no, enough. I've tried enough. Okay, so I've tried the most expensive ones out there, all natural. The bottle got a lot of words one. Okay, if you know what is it, you know what it is. Okay, it's the most expensive. Celebrity use that. I bought the most expensive one. I tell myself that, hey, you're gonna take care of your body because it's very uncomfortable, and it's like you prioritize your body, right? You work so hard and you want to live a good life. So at least I'm at the stage where I think I should live a better life, so I should take care of myself. I should stop buying cheap soap. Okay, so I bought the most expensive. So of course, like I said, I buy things that matter to me, right? So I spend my bandwidth on things that matter to me. I also spend my money on things that matter to me. So I tried the most expensive soap, but it didn't work. Okay, so it worked a little bit better than normal soap or like cheap soap. I feel less itchy, but it still felt itchy. After a while, I've been reading up on this. I read, different articles about like your natural oils, your body, your skin actually is the largest organ and all that jazz. And then I saw the Johnny Harris video about him not using shampoo for 5 years. And I'm like, okay, since he can come out that he does not use shampoo, I can also come out and say I don't use shampoo and soap. Okay, so I'm not trying to win him, okay, but the idea is I decided to give it a shot because there was a lockdown, right? So since there was a lockdown, I'm not going to meet a lot of people. So why not let me just give it a shot, right? What's the worst? I just think to myself, lah. Then I know, then I will do something about it. But what happened was the first few days was very, very hard. Okay, I feel like I was very oily. I feel very uncomfortable. I feel this general like like you know when you rub yourself after like sports and all, then you have all these like black things that come out of you, right? So a lot of dirt and what have you. But of course, I doubled my shower. I did more showers. I cleaned myself a little bit more. I scrubbed myself a little bit more. Okay, I know a bit TMI. Okay, but the idea is, after a while, my skin regulated itself. Okay, so I'm not trying to tell you to like don't use shampoo and soap. And I'm not a medical expert. I am not trying to propagate any way of life in that sense. I'm sharing with you things that I've tried that I think is a little crazy, which, like I can feel the jitters, right? So I know it's kind of socially, it will be deemed as weird, okay? But next time when you're near me, please don't try to smell me and all, okay? So but the idea is I tried that and my skin regulated itself. So after a week or two, I stopped feeling that, you know, dirtiness, quote unquote dirtiness. I feel like this more and more normal. And there was this one day that I was going out to meet a friend, and I was like, okay, maybe, meet my friend, right? How about I just use some soap? And my goodness, it was so uncomfortable after I used the soap. My skin was so dry and so irritated. And that was when I told myself that, okay, you know what? I think it's okay, I think it is okay to not be the same as everybody. You don't need to use soap and shampoo. But of course, I'm not a beauty expert, I'm not a dermatologist, and I am not the most dashing person out there. So you don't need to take my advice. I'm not trying to advise you how to take care of your body, but I'm taking this opportunity to share with you why you should question every single thing out there. I know a lot of people are pretty lazy and they want quick answers. I think it's pretty prevalent in the personal finance space and beyond. Okay, a lot of people want quick wins, or what we call quick wins, which is 5 things to do, 3 things to buy, 2 things to remove. And there are a lot of these kind of content that does very, very well out there, and I've been pretty against doing this kind of content. But of course, content market, yeah, it's a whole different discussion. But the idea is because there's a general crave of quick wins out there, a lot of content creators are creating for that. But my view is you have to question every single thing, and you should be able to push boundaries and dig deeper into why everything must be like this. It's like why cai fan must have 3 dishes to the plate of rice. Has anybody tell you that cai fan must be 2 vegetable, 1 meat? Why can't you just do 2 dishes? Why nasi padang must have 3 dishes? Right. So if you think about it, there are a lot of this kind of things in our society. Of course, I take the simplest one, okay, the seemingly stupid ones. But actually, if you push it further, why must you get a house? Right? Why must you get? There's a whole narrative behind why home ownership is good and all that jazz. And I'm not going to touch on it here today. But the idea is, have you went down deep into questioning why is this important, or why should you do this? It's not that you need to be a contrarian and be different and be revolutionary, but the process of questioning these things that seem as societally by right, or seem as societally right to, you should do it this way, or at least that's what society trying to tell you. If you keep questioning them, you actually come to a much deeper understanding as to why this exists, and you can make a more conscious choice. And to me, that is a path to becoming more conscious in your life and living a better life. Because you have to be able to stand by your choices. And the more aware you are, of course, it is a journey. It's not going to be like, I'm going to throw this one book and you're going to read every single thing and all the answers going to come out. No. But this process of pushing boundaries and questioning everything that is quote unquote by right or social stereotypes, it's going to make you a lot more aware, a lot more understanding, and come to terms with this is who I am, or this is how I want to live my life. And to me, that is one of the key tenets of living the life you love or managing your finances as well, because you need to find out why you love certain things and why you don't. So, point number 2 is not to tell you not to use shampoo and soap. The idea here is to get you to push social boundaries, to ask yourself why are things done in a certain way. And as long as you keep going down this cycle, you will have to poke a lot of these things. And there is beauty in it. The idea is not to break every single thing. I'll be a contrarian. But to question it, whether you can accept it, that is your choice. If you cannot, find a different way to do it. If you can, great. You have a higher and deeper awareness of why you do certain things. And to me, you will appreciate your life a lot more. Which brings me to the third crazy thing that I did during this break, which is actually not that crazy. A lot of people do this, but I just want to put it out here because I think you should try it also. And that is, I went for a lot of long walks. Specifically, I did go back to NUS like 3 times to walk. If you follow me on my socials, you know I was there. And why did I decide to go there? The first time I went there was an accident because I wanted to go to this particular cafe, which turns out to be not so sweet. So it was already pretty near NUS. So I was like, hey, why not let's visit NUS? But then after that, the first time that I went, I was like, oh my God, it's holidays, nobody, it's very quiet, a lot of stairs, good workout. And I just went there again and again, and I went back at least 3 times. So the thing is not to ask you to go to NUS to walk. We're not trying to start a walkathon in NUS, okay? I'm not even suggesting you where to walk in itself. And you don't even need to walk per se. But the idea is during my long walks, I had a lot less information to absorb, a lot more space to process information. And this is one thing that I realized amongst a lot of my friends that are taking this FIRE life or are doing more freelancing kind of work, that have the ability to kind of be a little bit more nimble with their schedule. And actually these days you can also, right? I think more and more companies are okay with being more nimble with your schedule. You can do different things. They benefit from a lot of these long walks also. And the idea here is not that everybody needs to go and walk and all that stuff. But the idea here is that by now you should realize that you are being bombarded by information at every single moment. Today you have a computer in your pocket at every single moment, or almost every single moment, and you are absorbing information again and again and again. But you don't really process it. So whether or not you practice journaling, whether or not you practice these kind of long walks or meditation or what have you, the idea is you should dedicate some time and space, resources to process these thoughts and process all these information that you have. You don't even need to write, you can record, right? You don't need to be a podcaster and compete with me. You can join the team if you want to be a podcaster, but you could also just take your phone and record, hey, dear phone, or you can give it a name, dear Irene. Today, what did I do? Blah, 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 blah. And I felt blah, 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 blah. And I learned blah, 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 blah. It's perfectly fine. The idea is you should process information because there's just so much going on. And a lot of times, I do believe that a lot of my good content, a lot of my good ideas, and a lot of all these random things that we come together actually came out of these times where I had more bandwidth to take a break and process information. So even though you may not want to be a content creator, I think you should do it. Because to me, that is one of the most effective things in processing the complexity of life and the big amount of information coming through your door every single day. So with that, I think we've covered enough. These are the 3 things that I did during this break. And of course, you will think that maybe aku very wisdom or like philosophy, because like do simple things also can connect until all these complicated, deep thoughts. And the reality is, as you are thinking more and more, you will start to connect a lot of these things together. So what I'm trying to say to you today, I'm going to sum up the 3 points, okay? I'm not gonna say what I did. So I don't think people need to know that I buy 6 t-shirts, I don't use soap and shampoo. These are all the things that you need to remember. But the 3 lessons that I want you to remember today, number one, is that you have limited bandwidth and you should spend your bandwidth on things that matter to you. If some things don't matter or seems like it does not matter as much, it's perfectly okay to keep them minimal and repeat them, and you don't need to actively make decisions every single day about things that don't matter. Number two is that there are a lot of things that society tells you, hey, it should be done this way. But is it really the case? It's a big question mark. What is important is not to break it or challenge it, but to question it to a point where you can either come to your consensus with what is happening now, or you can actually take a different position. So what I'm trying to tell you in point number two is that you should go and challenge narratives and question things and be on this endless pursuit for more knowledge, more understanding, and kind of push boundaries. Not in the pursuit to break it, but in the pursuit to understand it. And if it does not work for you, hey, perfectly okay to change. Which brings me to point number three, and that is there's a lot of information coming in every day. Why not give yourself some time, dedicate some resources, some bandwidth, and some space to think and process this information. It can come in all forms, whether you meditate, whether you journal, whether you record, whether you go for long walks. The idea is, I think people are not spending enough time to process information. So yes, these are the 3 things that I've learned, or I have kind of put forth as an extension of the things that I've tried during this break. And I hope you learned something useful today. See ya! Hey, I hope you learned something useful today and truly appreciate that you took time off to better your life with the Financial Coconut. Knowledge is that much more powerful and interesting when shared, debated, and discussed. Join our community Telegram group, follow us on our socials, sign up for our weekly newsletter. We are doing a weekly newsletter reboot. We're going to have a lot of information within the newsletter. Everything is in the description below. And if you love us and want to help us grow, definitely share the podcast with your friends and on your socials. Also, if you have any interesting thoughts you want to share, or you know someone that we would like to hear from, reach out to us through hello@thefinancialcoconut.com. With that, have a great day ahead. Stay tuned next week, and always remember, personal finance can be chill, clear, and sustainable for all. Oh wow, actually that was pretty hard, to be honest. I think it's been a while since I've done the presentation, so I'm getting my groove back. So yes, thanks for staying with me all the way to the end. Later this week, we're gonna have a good friend of mine on the show, Ryan. He did a pretty big Kickstarter thing, right? And I think crowdfunding is a whole new platform that it's very under discussed. So I got him on to talk about how do you be a smart Kickstarter. Okay, so if you want to use very little money, few $1,000s to start, I think he was telling me basically the minimal that you should spend is about 2,000 to do a Kickstarter campaign, and it can potentially work. So he has given us a lot of good juices, and you'll hear from him later this week. Next week, we're going to spend some time to talk about China, right? So I know recently there's been a lot of discussion about China, and there are many topics that I want to cover, right? CPF, China, and all that stuff. But I think we're going to talk a little bit about China because it's a bit time sensitive. So yes, next week we're going to talk a little bit about China. I'm going to share with you my thoughts about the Chinese stocks in general. What's going to happen, or what is my take on the current market itself, right? So thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for, sitting through. If you listen until now, I salute you, right? Because I appreciate that you took time off to listen all the way to this part. I hope it's beneficial for you. If you like this kind of content, not all personal finance related, a little bit more philosophical, a little bit more like different way of life, hey, let me know. hello@thefinancialcoconut.com. Take care.